All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening for everybody all out there paying attention to everything. Welcome to Cody's Cash Flow, episode two. In episode two, we're going to go ahead and we're going to cover basically my month to month budget and my journey up to $500,000 and $500,000. Obviously, like I was saying in the last episode, stock market's taking a hit, and that's why I said $357,000 because unfortunately one of my stocks is taking quite a punishment. So a little bit down right now, but eventually the stock market will recover, and I'm not so super worried about it. But I still think by the end of the year I will be damn close to $500,000 net worth. That's one thing that I'm definitely looking forward to. And potentially there's something I'm cooking up in the background that could allow me to break that a lot sooner. Can't share any of the details on that until the everything gets finalized with it. But as soon as it gets finalized, I would be more than happy to share it with the community here and then tell everybody how I did it and basically the individual things about why I did it and where I would go to find other opportunities like that. So we'll go ahead, we'll pop over here to the budget. And as you can see, this is my overall budget for the month or month to month. This is based on my pay periods. All pay periods include the basically the 2 week period in which you get paid. I mean, pretty simple. I mean, just something everyone knows, everyone should understand. Now, for the overall pay periods, my base pay is going to be $3,190 per pay period. That's just on my base pay. That's like one small portion of what I actually get paid. I did receive a few bonuses. These are some small bonuses, only $467 for this last one, just based on extra activities that I did at work that allowed the company to progress. Now, unfortunately, I don't have dividends at this point in time because I was trying to meet my goals of investment, which is $100,000 into the stock market as well as $100,000 into crypto. Now, with those two figures being filled already as of the first pay period of February, now I have additional cash flow that I'm looking to make more opportunities with and try to get into real estate by the end of the year. So I'll have roughly $90,000 to be able to do that with discretionary funds out of that 108,000 in the yellow. Speaking of that, we should go over what the colors mean. So obviously the blue is the starting balance. Then I have my pay periods broken up first and second. Total income per pay period. Now, obviously, tax is not taken out of that, plus expenses are not taken out of that, but it's quite a sizable chunk of income overall. January was a really good month for me. I had a lot of stock income, made roughly $10,000 in the stock market during one pay period. So that definitely helped out a lot. My overall expenses are pretty low. My major expense happened in January, which is going to be that auto insurance because I do have two cars, both paid off, no loans. I do drive them quite a bit because I do a lot of traveling over here in Europe, and it just allows me to see new things, experience new things. Obviously, the beer bug didn't help with all that, but hey, it is what it is. So as you can see, that first pay period of January kind of hurt a little bit. 4 grand, way more than my normal spending, but again, it is what it is. Now, that also brings you into the green area, which is savings. Now, these savings I do include in the expenses, but I subtract them back out to give me the total remainder. So the savings I basically count as basically a negative value in order to remove them from the expenses because they do get spent on me first because I pay myself first. Now that I make enough money to pay myself first, that's what I do. And then that gives you the yellow, which is the remainder, which is discretionary funds. These are funds that need a home, they need to go invest somewhere. And that's what I'm always looking to try and do is just go invest somewhere. And that leads you to the purple, which is the projected end balance. And this is as of the first pay period in January, which was 350 or 353,791. I'm pretty anal with my budget, so I keep track of pretty much everything. There are like some small things, a couple like dollar things that I don't track perfectly, but it's all pretty much tracked because it's all tracked by credit cards and debit cards. I barely use my credit card anymore. I have zero credit card debt, and that's one thing that a lot of people carry is they have credit card debt, student loan debt, I have auto debt, I have home loan debt. I have none of those because I just don't like debt. I grew up kind of poor at first. We grew up in a trailer park, and then we eventually made it big in the stock market. My dad made some good bets, and we ended up getting out of there. We ended up being able to move out to a different town. That was a huge step up in my life, and that's when I realized that I never want to go back to that. Trailer parks aren't exactly the friendliest place, and although the Harris Trailer Park was all right, probably not the place to live. Now, jumping down here into income, we already covered most of it. You'll see one big one, which is the VA disability. Now, this hits at the first of the month, every single month. And as of 2023, it jumped up to $3,621. Now, I am 100% permanent and totally disabled. And that's because of a lot of neck injuries, a head injury, some lower back injuries. Basically, I have no feeling in my left leg, as well as a damaged knee and a couple other like ridiculous things. The worst thing ever is the damn migraines. Migraines, that's another thing I'm trying to solve for anyone out there with migraines. I'm working on a solution called Migraine Magic. Once I get the formula correct, I do plan to go ahead and start marketing that because if I can help people get rid of their migraines forever and never have to worry about them again, dude, I would be so happy. Like that is something I wish somebody would have created out there, but no one has. Everyone likes to push the drugs on you and not have a natural solution. This is going to be an all natural solution. So I am super pumped to see what the results of this are going to be. And if Migraine Magic turns out, I'll get it on market and then hopefully I can solve the world's headaches and migraine problems. And that's mainly due to nutrition and obviously the whole head injury thing and TBI and all that goodness probably didn't help me too much. But anyway, that's where those funds come from, and that's because I'm 100% permanently and total disabled. Now, refunds, reimbursements, these are individual personal loans that people owe me that they pay back at the first pay period of every single month. As you can see, that pretty much goes all year long, $583. Pretty decent little side income. I had the money to lend, so I figured, why not lend it? And why not lend it to family who I can hold responsible for their actions? It definitely helps because then they definitely have to pay it back. Yeah, they could try and play the games, but they know they need to pay it back. Now, jumping all the way down here to the bottom, this one is also paid at the first paid period of every single month, and that is the living quarter allowance. And that's because I am overseas, it allows for additional payments in order to facilitate living over here. And that's about almost $2,600, which all adds up to that $10,500 mark that you see below. Obviously, that first pay period didn't have too much stock income gains. I do have to go back and look at that to see what my average was. I believe that period was negative, but I do have to check because I want to be 100% straight as we're going through this whole thing. Obviously, the second pay period was great. I mean, ended up with almost $8,400 or $8,400, which is pretty good money. I mean, if you can make that in a 2 week period, that's pretty good money. And that's pretty much my overall like earnings per per pay period per month. I haven't added my crypto in here yet, just because I want to make sure that when I do add my crypto in here, everything is safe, secured, and then everything is on the proper storage so that it doesn't disappear unless I want it to disappear. Now, jumping down here into the home expenses and mortgage. Luckily, I live overseas, so I don't have to pay tax. That's another huge savings that you're going to see below. And I live below my means because I travel a lot. So there's no point in having a huge place that I have to take care of all the time. It's just super simple to have a small place, one bedroom, one bath, living room, kitchen set. Super easy, only $660 a month. Very, very easy to take care of. And well, it works out for me. I mean, I'm almost never here on the weekends, so it's hard to catch me. Now, in the first pay period, I do have the cell phone bill as well as the internet bill. Those come out to 70 and 60 a piece for a total of 131 for that pay period. And then with the rent and everything on the second pay period, because there is the electricity bill built into there, that's $710 total for my living expenses. Very, very, very cheap. Luckily, that's one thing I learned while living in the trailer park is that you don't really need a million billion things. It's just if you have enough, you can live with it. Now, as you can see, the big one that I have that you guys don't is vehicle payments. I have a big old goose egg, zero, because everything is paid off. I have no intention of buying a new vehicle ever again. I will only pay cash for vehicles unless, of course, I blow up and I become a 100 millionaire overnight, which you never know. Could happen. Probably not, but could happen. And that's one of those things that it's just like, you know what? Why buy something brand new and something used will just work perfectly fine. I believe Aaron Clary, Cappy, as some people know him, he always says, "Why buy something new? That's just stupid." And I completely agree with him because I mean, why? Why? What's the point? A perfectly good little Toyota will drive you back and forth to anywhere you want to go, or you can buy plane tickets for super cheap. That's another thing that we'll get into. Is I found a couple of websites that allow me to buy cheap plane tickets to fly anywhere I want to go. So I save a ton of money there. Now, unfortunately, that comes tied with the enormous freaking auto insurance. At least it's enormous in my opinion, because my other car is a 2014 Corvette, and it's was my first sports car. I always wanted it ever since I was a kid. My grandpa used to show me the 69 Stingrays, and I used to be absolutely in love with them. I had this one that I wanted that was powder blue with white wall tires. It was just gorgeous, just a gorgeous car. Unfortunately, it got sold. That was one deal I missed out on. $5,000, pristine condition. It was just too good, and I just can't believe I missed it. But then it turned out that I ended up finding this other Corvette, which was a lime rock green. It has a tan interior, and it's the perfect Spartan car because I'm a Michigan State grad, so perfect Sparty. And it just looks beautiful. It's gorgeous, and I paid $30,000 under value for it because the whole story behind that is the fact that just be a nice person sometimes. Just go help people. Sometimes people just need help. And an old lady needed help moving out of her house. Her husband had died. This was a car that was available and she wanted to get rid of it because it was her husband. She didn't want it anymore. She just needed to get rid of it. No miles on it. $67,000 car. Paid 30 for it. Pretty cheap, if I do say so myself. That was a hell of a deal. I had to jump on it. I took it. Granted, if I could do it all again, I probably wouldn't have done it because that would have been an extra $30,000 to invest as the stock market was pumping during all that money printing. But hey, it is what it is. You live, you learn. Now, fuel, I don't drive the Corvette all the time, so normally fuel costs go with the Toyota. And that only averages to about $200 a pay period, about $100 a tank, because I get cheap on post gas with my privileges being one of the workers over here in Germany. So that's about $200 a pay period. Additionally, there's an additional payment every so often when I am driving back and forth to say Poland. That's a pretty decent little drive, so that's an extra 100, but it all ends up averaging out to about 200 a pay period. And as you can see, my next one is going to be the repair bill coming up here in April, which keep track of, and that's going to be the complete maintenance of both the Corvette as well as the Toyota. It might be a little higher than 1350 this year just because I do have to put new tires on the Corvette, but it's pretty decent. I have a local mechanic who does a great job. If you're ever out here, I'd be more than happy to give you a recommendation to him. And it's something that I definitely plan on keep going and doing because you have to keep your car's maintenance. There's just no point in having a vehicle if you're just going to let it break down. And that's pretty much everything all mapped out for transportation. Now, health, this is another thing that I save a crap ton of money on compared to the normal person. And that's health insurance. Like, because I am 100% disabled, I do have extremely cheap health insurance. Granted, it's because I'm broke, completely broken. So I do see the doctor quite a bit. And because I am also 100% permanent and total, my dentist is also free. So it's something I just got to get reimbursed for. And ultimately, the money ends up coming back. But just as an extra, just in case, I always keep a small private insurance, which ends up being that $14 and that $1 average for the overall bill of $15 a pay period, which is nothing compared to what some people pay. In fact, my boss, I think he said he pays like 600 for his entire family. So that's another benefit about being a geo bachelor, having the girlfriend in Poland and being able to not have to worry about a ton of ridiculous money. Now, charity and gifts, yeah, I'm not very charitable. It is what it is. I don't have anything that I particularly give to. I prefer to give my time rather than my money because that's more important to people. Spending more time with them, at least in my opinion, is more valuable than just giving them money so they can go spend it on something, a new stupid iPhone that they don't need, or giving it to an organization that will give less than 2% to the actual person that's being targeted and keep the rest for salaries, payments, corporate retreats, and all the dumb crap that goes with it. And well, I'm also not very religious, so no donations there. Now, jumping down here to groceries. I try to eat pretty damn healthy, and it's pretty boring, like pretty boring of a diet because as of 2021, November 2021, I had lost, well, before then, and right after COVID, I had gained almost 90 pounds and I was sitting at 243 pounds. I was horribly obese. It was just not good. So I decided to make a change, started eating a lot healthier, and eating a lot healthier led to spending a lot less on junk food and dumb things. So it ended up being only $300 per pay period because pretty much I eat chicken, vegetables, fish, vegetables, cottage cheese, bone broth because I need to keep those protein levels up because you're supposed to have 1.5 grams of protein per body weight in order to keep that muscle density up. I also work out 4 times a week as well as do 3 times cardio per week in order to keep all that fat off. And I'm currently sitting at 173 pounds, pretty lean, not quite to where I want to be. I want to get down to 12% body fat. So we got to keep doing it. Now, dining and eating out, that's only going to be about $50 a pay period. Normally, I only eat out when I'm with the girlfriend. Sometimes the guys from work and I will go to the bowling alley. We'll have one of the greasy patty melts, and I always end up regretting it because I have to work out extra hard after that. But it's very low spending. I barely spend anything on eating out because it's just easier to throw something into the air fryer that I bought, some chicken, some vegetables, just get all that done. Spend 300 every pay period. Super easy. Now, salon barber, as you can see, I have the most luscious locks on the face of the earth. But I do end up having to spend quite a little bit of money, like $14 a pay period, in order to keep the sides at least short so that everything kind of matches. Because you got to take care of yourself. You got to look good. Now, eventually, I will probably either buzz it off or go to Turkey and pay the $10,000 to get the hair replaced. It's just a matter of time. And obviously, with the events going on in Turkey, God help those people, it's going to be a little hard to get over there to get the hair replacement. Now, jumping down to entertainment, I barely spend anything on entertainment. I have two forms of the entertainment. I do have Amazon Prime, which I order a lot of things through. And then I have the standard Netflix subscription. And the Netflix subscription is generally only used when the girlfriend is around and we want to spend time together. So that's just a sunk cost, barely anything compared to what most people pay in subscriptions. Books, I do spend quite a bit on books because I listen to a lot of audiobooks on my drives all across Europe. And that's a great way to spend time rather than listening to the radio where you listen to the same songs on repeat, which is just a waste of time, in my opinion. Ever since I started listening to the audiobooks, I've been expanding my knowledge, which is why I figured might as well go ahead and share some of that knowledge as I learn it. That's kind of part of the reason that led to Cody's Cash Flow. That goes to a total of $58 a month. And then you can see all the way over here in June and in September, those are vacation periods. So that's entertainment. Gonna have to be spent. I find a way to fly super cheap, and that's for both my girlfriend and myself. So we end up paying almost nothing to go to a lot of wonderful places and spend a ton of time just enjoying things. We do a lot of hiking, we do a lot of backpacking. It's just a great way to spend time. And then you get a lot of outdoors. You don't have to worry about paying a ton. Now, savings, as you can see, the savings down here, we have the 401k IRA as well as the emergency fund. Obviously, I should put a little bit more into my 401k because I am way under contributing. So that's definitely something that I have to do at some point in time. But I like having the funds so that I can throw it against whatever I feel like actually investing in at that point in time to have the cash on hand and not have to worry about it. My company's match is kind of low, so it's not really missing out on too much. And I just think it's better when I can make huge gains in the stock market and not have to worry about it. A gain that's not on here, I made almost $40,000, but obviously that's an unrealized gain. So I didn't include it in the budget. But once it solidifies and once the stock market decides to stop being so turbulent, it'll be one of those things that'll get added. By the way, that's long-term investing. That's not like short-term crap so that I would have to pay additional taxes. Day trading is a scam. Just understand that. Now, payroll taxes, aka BS, that's going to be $342, and that's just going to be my Social Security as well as my Medicare that I have to contribute to based on tax law. And haven't found a way out of that one yet. Probably won't because that one's pretty buried deep in there. Eventually, who knows? Maybe I'll have employees and I can go ahead and find a way to write that off too. And that pretty much is my entire budget. And as you can see, going all the way from January to December, that brings us all the way to a total of 471,380. Almost $500,000 after 3 years of being a overseas contractor, paying zero tax according to foreign earned income exclusion, as well as all my other non-taxable income sources, which God forbid, if the damn government can find a way to tax it, they will. And I have a feeling that it is coming. So hopefully it won't. And hopefully I'll have enough real estate to offset those income. So that's episode 2 of Cody's Cash Flow. I'm going to go ahead and cut it off here and hope you guys will go ahead and like, subscribe, and just pay attention for the next one. We'll continue going on this trend and try to get a bunch of videos pumped out every single day. Alrighty. The hell? Oh